This week on YTPioneers, we present to you the story of Instagram, and it both starts and ends with Mark Zuckerberg. While Facebook was only accessible on a small number of college campuses, Mark offered Kevin Systrom a job because he wanted him to develop a photo sharing tool for Facebook's websites. Although Kevin Systrom was flattered, he declined the offer after one of his mentors told him that Facebook will be only a passing trend. Kevin, on the other hand, traveled to Italy to pursue one of his interests, photography. On the course, he picked up a lot of knowledge that would later be crucial in the development of Instagram. Yet, when Kevin initially came back from Italy, he was offered an internship at Odeo, a digital corporation that would later become Twitter. Kevin became acquainted with Jack Dorsey while he was an intern, and Jack informed Kevin that Twitter would become very successful. But Kevin failed to recognize the potential and left the company. Although he wasn't yet aware of it, Kevin had recently passed up the opportunity to join both Facebook and Twitter when they were still in their infancy. As a result, he had lost out on two opportunities to get rich and be a part of massive social media corporations. This, however, was irrelevant. Kevin intended to create one on his own. He started taking classes to become an app developer, and a year later, he had created the Bourbon app, which was named after the whiskey he liked to drink. The app had nothing to do with the drink, thus it was a somewhat misleading name. The app served as a mechanism for people to share their locations and whereabouts, as well as a form of check-in tool that allowed users to upload photos of their travels. The more time users spend outside, the more chances they had to earn virtual prizes. Everyone else was thinking the same thing you are if you think that seems a little perplexing. With an ugly brown and red look, and a mobile website that hardly functioned, Bourbon was an odd mashup of many services. Yet after developing Bourbon, Kevin went to a gathering where many affluent financiers were present, and was able to persuade one of them to invest $50,000 in his new program. Following this, another investment firm opted to invest $250,000 after learning about it, which led the original investor to increase their investment to $250,000 as well. All of a sudden, investments totaling $500,000 were made in Kevin's recently established startup. Alright, let's take a brief moment. You are correct in believing that it is absurd. But this was all taking place in Silicon Valley, a region where investors were eager to invest in fledgling technological ventures because they believed that even if a small percentage of those bets paid off, they could be worth billions of dollars. However, with so many people at his disposal, Kevin began looking for a co-founder to assist him. He chose Mike Kreger, one of Bourbon's original users, whom he knew from his time at Stanford. Kevin now had financing from investors and a business partner. But there was one major issue. Bourbon simply wasn't that well liked. They were having significant growth difficulties and had about 100 users. So Kevin made the decision to visit and speak with their engaged users to learn more about what they enjoyed most about the app. It turns out that the majority of them were only interested in the photo sharing feature and didn't even care about the virtual prizes or the check-in functions. Kevin's basic notion was, what problem are we solving? He then understood that, despite the existence of other photo sharing applications, there was no practical way to simultaneously share excellent photos with a vast number of friends. He advised his co-founder to change the direction of Bourbon, remove all the complex features, and concentrate just on taking great images. Co-founder Kevin was adamant, and they rebranded their app to Instagram, a combination of the words instant and telegram. Kevin's co-founder had just started the job that week, so he was a little worried about the fact that they were completely changing everything, especially since he had just left his previous job to work on this business. However, Kevin was adamant, and they changed everything. After creating the first version of their photo app, Kevin was enthusiastic about its potential and showed it to his girlfriend. She claimed she probably wouldn't use it because her images weren't as excellent as most of their friends, but Kevin was still pleased about the app's potential. Kevin clarified that the reason their images appeared so good was because they just applied a filter on them, as Kevin's girlfriend then retorted, "Well, you should add filters to your app then." The success of Instagram would ultimately be greatly influenced by that straightforward remark. Kevin came to the realization that while there were already other filter apps, they were just image editors. Instagram would address the issue of them lacking a community in which to share those images, as well as the difficulty in doing so on other social media sites. Here, Kevin's prior photographic experience was quite helpful. He was able to use Photoshop to design some filters that people could add to their images to instantly give them a more polished appearance. On October 6, 2010, Kevin and his co-founder Mike released Instagram to the general public after only 8 frenetic weeks of development on it. Yet, not even in his wildest dreams could Kevin have foreseen what would come next. It's typical in most business stories that a product or service's launch is unimpressive, and that piquing people's interest takes some work in the beginning. Not true for Instagram. Instagram added 25,000 users on the first day it was available on the App Store. It had more than 1 million users in a month. Several things contributed to the early success. First of all, Instagram makes it incredibly simple for users to post their edited photos on other social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Every time they did, it helped draw new users to Instagram. Instagram made it simple for people to create the artistic looks they want for their images. Second, Instagram timed it just right. With the new and improved camera, the iPhone 4 had just been released. Thanks to Kevin's choice to limit their focus to simply images, everyone was using their devices more frequently, and Instagram was the best mobile-first photography app. Thirdly, Instagram advised photographers and designers with large followings on other platforms to use the app early on to establish the correct aesthetic vibe. All of this caused Instagram to become popular. Nevertheless, because Kevin had not anticipated Instagram to gain such a large following so rapidly, their service frequently crashed due to the influx of new users. Since Instagram continually crashed, Kevin became more and more anxious. The issue grew worse when prominent figures began using the app. One of the first was Justin Bieber, whose posts would cause an influx of fresh teenage girls to join Instagram, overloading the systems. Further issues were brought up by the immense amount of images that are currently being uploaded, such as how they will manage all of the harassment and abuse. When Instagram only had 4 employees, including the company's founders Kevin and Mike, they reached a user base of 2 million. They were all collaborating in a single small room at the time. Although it was daunting, the expansion was very exhilarating. The Instagram team did eventually expand to 13 people by 2012, given how well known the app was at that point, even though that was a shockingly small staff size. Also dramatically altered was Kevin's personal life. He grew more enmeshed in celebrity culture as the CEO of a quickly expanding app, despite the fact that he knew very little about it. In one instance, a woman approached him at a party to express her worries about the safety of Instagram for younger users after she claimed to have seen posts inciting eating disorders. As Kevin questioned her, she revealed her name and showed him her popular Instagram account. He had no idea who Ariana Grande was when she appeared. Yet even so, Kevin was suddenly mingling with prominent individuals, all of whom were eager to ask him how they, too, could make use of Instagram. While the addition of celebrities did increase Instagram's appeal, Kevin always made an effort to emphasize that they should show themselves as relatable and not just use the platform for marketing. Instagram's rule explicitly stated that engaging in self-promotional conduct of any type on the platform causes those with whom you shared a moment to feel sad. The issue was that more and more people were learning they could make money off of their Instagram audiences. Once marketers began paying users to upload images of their items, Instagram began to resemble a shop window rather than the creative place it had been designed to be. Because initially most people did not disclose that they had been compensated, their audience mistakenly believed it to be a sincere product recommendation from a reliable source rather than an advertisement. It's been rumored that Kim Kardashian, who has a huge following, earns over $1 million for just one sponsored post. What's truly intriguing is that Instagram didn't utilize algorithms to decide what went viral in the beginning because they believed the users would manipulate the system. Instead, Instagram's small team carefully selected which accounts and posts to highlight. As a result, the team effectively had control over who achieved fame or not, and could shape Instagram's culture according to their own preferences. This implied that the Instagram staff have divine abilities to make someone rich and well-known. The irony was that Instagram didn't generate any revenue for the first few years. The only source of funding for their expansion was money from investors because they haven't yet created an ad system. Nevertheless, all of that seemed to be irrelevant at one point since Twitter wanted to purchase Instagram. Kevin was treated to a meal by the CEO of Twitter, who thought there was a good chance that Twitter might buy Instagram. Because of this, Twitter was completely taken aback by what Kevin did next. Mark Zuckerberg called Kevin and made a direct offer of $1 billion, saying, "I've thought about it and I want to buy your company." Zuckerberg believed that by allowing Instagram to access Facebook's resources, Instagram would reach a higher level. But Mark foresaw Kevin's true desires and assured him that Instagram would remain apart from Facebook, allowing him to continue managing everything on his own without interference. Many people, including staff members at Instagram, were shocked when Kevin agreed. He understood that Instagram would gain from Facebook's infrastructure and experience, including the ability to use Facebook servers and moderation tools, and that Facebook might help Instagram grow even faster. Additionally, Kevin was aware that Facebook would try to destroy Instagram in his place if he didn't sell. So, joining forces and benefiting from Facebook's immense money felt like a win-win situation. Nobody has ever spent $1 billion for a mobile app before when it was acquired in 2012, especially not for one that was only 18 months old and had virtually no business plan. Most people believed it was ludicrous that Facebook was buying Instagram for $1 billion because it was still losing money. Of course, looking back, that was a good deal. By 2019, Instagram was contributing around 30% of Facebook's overall revenue, or over $24 billion per year. Additionally, it meant that Facebook now owned the leading Facebook alternative. Although the decision was brilliant, not everyone favored it. With Facebook's bad track record with privacy and some users' belief that Facebook couldn't be trusted to keep their apps totally separate as they promised, many users didn't want Facebook to have any more user data. In reality, when the agreement was made, governments all across the world looked into whether Facebook's acquisition of Instagram gave it a monopoly on the social media industry. They allowed the acquisition to proceed without incident at the time. But years later, analysts would remark that approving the acquisition of Instagram was one of the worst regulatory blunders of the decade. Even Chris Hughes, a co-founder of Facebook, demanded that the agreement be annulled, stating that Mark's power is un-American and unprecedented. Yet for the 13-person Instagram crew, it was time to celebrate following the acquisition. Kevin took them to a lavish party in Las Vegas, but the joy wouldn't last for long. The staff of Instagram were given jobs by Facebook to keep working on Instagram, but there was no significant financial gain for them personally, as it quickly became apparent that they would not become wealthy themselves. Kevin and Mike, the company's co-founders, would be the only ones making money, which quickly started to engender discontent. The Instagram team observed as Kevin acquired an expensive new automobile, a new Rolex watch, and began receiving a variety of deliveries at the office, serving as a continual reminder that he had amassed an enormous fortune through the sale of Instagram, while the staff members had not. For Kevin, though, a number of considerably more serious issues were just getting started. With no means to opt out, Instagram claims it now has the right to sell your photos without asking for money or giving you any advance notice. After the sale to Facebook, articles like this one started to appear. As a result of changing its terms of service, Instagram had immediately backtracked and alter the wording after the hashtag #DeleteInstagram began to trend. Yet the problem Instagram was having went much deeper than that. Instagram made it considerably simpler to create anonymous profiles because users were not required to use their real names. The posting of bullying, hostile, and even illegal content increased as a result, including a rise in various scams. Terrorists have even been known to recruit on Instagram and discreetly use hashtags to organize their content in some of the most extreme incidents. There have also been a ton of stories about Instagram's detrimental impacts on people's mental health, with the usage of Instagram clearly linked to anxiety and depression. But things became far worse in 2021 when the Wall Street Journal reported that Facebook had been concealing information about Instagram's negative user statistics from Congress, despite knowing for years that they were harmful to many of their users. Internal records from Facebook and Instagram were leaked. allowing the firm to perform its own research and, quote, Instagram is toxic to a sizable percent of its users, particularly teenage girls, and we make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls. According to a separate internal study, 13% of British students who had suicidal thoughts could link their behavior on Instagram, and all of this information came from the company's own research. Thereafter, numerous more whistleblowers have charged Instagram with prioritizing its enormous revenues over its users. Also, some of Instagram's first employees have grown very depressed about the atmosphere that their platform was building. They monitored as some people began to retouch their images to make them look better, or to change the brightness of their teeth, or to make themselves appear skinnier, using tools like Facetune and Lightroom. Of course, this only served to raise the bar even higher for what constituted Instagram-worthy content and exacerbate comparison anxiety. Likes and followers work the same way. Many users are unaware that they follow and like each other in groups called pods in order to boost their Instagram statistics, or that many accounts actually utilize phony followers and likes. It's given that many prominent Instagram accounts have run advertisements to their profiles to help promote them, which is fine. However, it can make users feel insecure about their own statistics and popularity when, in reality, they are just missing out on what other users are doing behind the scenes. Instagram was ranked as the worst app for young people's mental health by the Royal Society for Public Health. Young people may feel as if they are losing out on life since they witness their peers continually having fun on vacation or enjoying night outs, according to their survey. People's lives on Instagram had started to resemble a highlight reel, but the platform was also used to create a public persona. Individuals started acting in certain ways solely for the Instagram picture. For instance, National Geographic discussed how Instagram was transforming travel. Because it was a terrific location for an Instagram snap, visitation to a scenic cliff in Norway increased by almost 8,000%, and people would line up to have their pictures taken there, taking countless shots in an effort to capture the ideal angle and position. But there were other incidents, such as when somebody stepped on a poppy field to snap a picture for Instagram and it was destroyed. In order to capture more daring images that might go viral, some people even took unsafe photos like hanging over the sides of buildings, where the snapshot was becoming more significant than the actual experience. Between 2011 and 2017, 259 people died while attempting selfies, according to a study. There have also been a number of unbelievably awful tales, such as the suicide of Molly Russell, 14, just days after she had seen images of self-harm and suicide on Instagram. Her family found distressing Instagram posts about suicide, self-harm, anxiety, and sadness after she passed away. According to her father, Instagram helped kill his daughter. It is vital to note that Instagram is a free-to-use platform. Nobody is compelled to utilize it, and users are free to post and follow anyone they choose. Additionally, Instagram has made progress in addressing some of these mental health problems. For instance, suppressing the number of likes on other users' images can assist to lessen the feeling of pressure while posting and comparing like counts. But by 2018, one individual has had enough of Instagram, and that person was none other than the man who founded the platform. The majority of Instagram users were unaware that Facebook even owned the site, and in the initial years following the acquisition, Facebook had permitted Kevin to continue operating it entirely independently as agreed. There had been a few minor requests, such as Facebook asking Instagram to prevent users from displaying their Snapchat names and to make the Vine hashtag less visible. Facebook didn't want to offer competitors any prominence. The WhatsApp founders were hesitant to sell their software to Facebook, so Zuckerberg requested Kevin to persuade them that Facebook wasn't interfering. He also asked Kevin to put in a good word for him with the WhatsApp creators, and that was accurate for the most part. But over time, Facebook began to become a little more involved in Instagram, which sparked a number of disputes. Zuckerberg first proposed increasing Instagram's email and push notifications to increase engagement, but Kevin objected and said this would be an annoying experience for users. The debate over advertising then became much more heated. Zuckerberg wished to combine Instagram with the current Facebook advertising platform. This made a lot of sense in terms of business. Although Facebook had a very successful ad infrastructure that they had been utilizing for years, Virtually anyone in the world could purchase advertisements in the newsfeed and target people based on their demographics, interests, and everything else Facebook knew about them. Kevin didn't like this concept at all, even though it would be quite easy to implement this for Instagram as well, and would immediately begin earning millions of dollars. Because most of the advertisements had not been reviewed and frequently used clickbait language, he believed it might harm Instagram's reputation and user experience. Kevin wanted to develop strategies that were specifically designed for Instagram and only work with a small number of advertisers at once. He desired an opulent Instagram-compatible style for the advertisements. And for a brief period, Kevin got his way and manually approved Instagram advertising for a select few well-known, well-respected brands. But soon, Zuckerberg would put a stop to it, and Instagram would incorporate Facebook's ad system, allowing anybody to purchase Instagram advertisements. It served as a reminder to Kevin that, although still holding the title of Instagram CEO, he wasn't in charge. The biggest impact would, however, be felt when Zuckerberg began to suspect Instagram was stunting Facebook's expansion. The trouble is, despite the fact that Facebook, the company, owned Instagram, Mark still considered Facebook to be his pride and joy and his baby, and he began to worry that Instagram was driving too many users away from Facebook. The finest way to describe Facebook was by a former Instagram employee. Facebook was like the big sister that wants to dress you up for the party, but doesn't want you to be prettier than she is. Instagram has been expanding more quickly than ever before thanks to Facebook's resources. In fact, they've been promoting Instagram to attract new users through the Facebook app, but Zuckerberg was concerned that Instagram was overshadowing what he considered to be their primary product. Would Instagram's success threaten Facebook's if it kept expanding at this rate? Was Facebook losing too many users to Instagram? Kevin became irritated when Zuckerberg made some minor modifications, such as deleting the navigation connection to Instagram from the Facebook app and asking Instagram to replace it with a link to Facebook. However, Zuckerberg informed Instagram that they could only expand their crew by 8% that year, significantly less than what was required. Kevin started expressing his disapproval of Zuckerberg's choices to his staff. Emotions began to rise. So Kevin took a vacation, which he then continued to extend, and when he finally got back, he said both he and his co-founder Mike were quitting. The Instagram staff mistook their actions for humor. Although it was true, they had a hard time picturing Instagram without its two founders. After the Instagram founders left, their app was renamed Instagram from Facebook, and they were both leaving in the months that followed. Additionally, Instagram's advertising volume has increased, and the platform now offers more notifications, individualized follower suggestions, and Facebook integration. These are all the things Zuckerberg had been advocating for a while, but with Kevin gone, he was free to act as he wished without opposition or delays. Since then, Instagram has maintained its stellar performance, particularly after emulating Snapchat's story feature, which gave users of Instagram a method to upload content without having to meet the high standards of the main app. While opinions on whether Instagram is helpful for society may vary from person to person, one thing that cannot be disputed is that it is a remarkable financial success story. What began as a bewildering app called Bourbon became a tremendously influential aspect of the lives of a great number of people. There's an obvious lesson there about paying attention to your users and changing course if something isn't working rather than continuing in the same direction blindly. For the app's early success, Kevin's choice to rebrand and concentrate on only one thing exceptionally well was crucial. But Kevin no longer uses Instagram as frequently as he once did. Since he hasn't posted in hundreds of weeks, it's possible that he has realized what many of us have. The best experience occasionally involved putting the camera down, being fully present in the moment, and realizing that a filter was never necessary. This wraps up today's episode from YTPioneers. I would appreciate it if you could share this video and click like if you liked it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel for more enlightening and motivating videos. Have a great day, everyone!